All right, so today we are with Mr. James Hung, and we're talking about effective programs for student development and profit as well. And he has a program called the 555, which we're going to dive into. So, James, how's it going?
It's going good. Things are starting up again here in the season. We're going outdoors exclusively, so we're all right so far.
Yeah. So, give a little context. So what's the location that you're at like? What are some of the demographics in your area? Just
Gotcha.
some basic stuff like that.
I'm located at Harbor Links Golf Course in Port Washington, New York. That's on Long Island. We're probably about 30, 40 minutes away from Bethpage, where the U.S. Open was held a couple of times. And we're a public facility. We have a 350-yard driving range practice area, as well as an 18-hole championship golf course and a 9-hole executive golf course. And we have 5 instructors on staff here. And we have a lot of instruction programs, but as you mentioned, the 555 one seems to be the big one.
Cool. And what is the area like for you? Is it pretty affluent? Are there a lot of schools, a lot of kids? Like what's it like around there?
It's yes to all of them. It's a pretty affluent area. We're actually located right in the middle of a bunch of private clubs, exclusive clubs, and there's also a lot of kids in the area. Some people may know that Long Island, it's very sports like soccer, lacrosse are very big here. So we get a lot of kids coming through here as well.
Okay, cool. So, good area to be at.
Yes.
The 555 program. What's the basic premise? I don't know anything about it, so coming into it blind. Let's
Well,
figure this all out.
well, what I started noticing with students a few years ago is whenever they come for a private lesson or even to one of our adult clinics, they were always coming up with the same scenarios. I'm having problems with this. I'm having problems with that. And what I started to notice is it was starting to become the same shots. So what we did instead is I created a program called 555, which is 5 shots, 5 weeks, save 5 strokes on your score. So each week it's an hour-and-a-half program, and we limit it to small groups, maybe about anywhere from 3 to 6 people, and we focus on one shot only. And the whole entire hour-and-a-half is learning that one shot, practicing that one shot, really getting it down, different yardages, different lies, different situations, and then having them go out and test it on their home courses or on our course as well, and that's every week. So each week is a specific shot, and they learn it. And the
Gotcha.
goal is at the end of the 5 weeks, you're probably encountering each one of these shots at least once around, if not more, and hopefully you're saving at least 5 shots off of your score.
So, are you talking about something very specific, like a flap out? You're talking about like how to hit your driver. Like what's a shot, for example?
Well, what we noticed, or what I seem to notice, is that these were all shots that were coming within 100, 125 yards. So, to give you an example, bunker shots, greenside bunker shots. Everybody's always asking questions about greenside bunker shots. So, one of the sessions is on exclusively greenside bunker shots, how to hit from a downhill lie, uphill lie, side hill lie, buried lie, if the lip is above you, just creating all kinds of different scenarios and getting people to feel comfortable with them.
Okay, gotcha. And how do you structure your sessions? Is it like a clinic, or like how would you describe it?
I would say it's a small clinic, and we limit it to about 3 to 6 people at most. If it turns out that there's more people than that, we'll either schedule more clinics or more sessions, or I'll just bring in another instructor and keep them in small groups. And what I also encourage the students to do is create a lot of feedback, because what will happen is someone will say something and inevitably someone else in the group will say, yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, that happens to me too. All right, well, let's touch upon that as well.
Interesting, interesting. Okay, so these shots inside 100 yards. Actually, what are all 5 of them? Let's just go through them. What are the different
Sure.
shots that you do?
We have about the 30 to 50 yard pitch shot. We have this greenside bunker shot. We have the lag putt. We have the chip shot from heavy rough. And then the 5th week, the last week, what I do is I leave it up to the students to come up with a shot of their own. And then we'll save it for that. And then we'll actually, if we have enough time at the end of that, we'll kind of like put them through a little bit of a scenario, maybe go out to one of the holes, and I'll ask them, is there one of the 5 that you found was the most difficult to work on? and we'll focus on that.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the student development aspect first. How effective is this in getting students? The goal is 5 shots to get that result.
I think what I'm hearing in terms of the feedback is when they are faced with that scenario on the golf course, they feel much more comfortable. They're not walking into it blind, and just their train of thought, instead of it, gee, I hope I don't screw up here, gee, I just want to get it out, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. They're walking in there now and going, yeah, now I know what I'm supposed to do. I've done this before. It worked great. Boy, this was a lot easier than I thought. And they're coming out saying, wow, yeah, you know, I took that greenside bunker shot and I hit it to about 10 feet and I one-putted or two-putted, which is exactly what I wanted to do. And I moved on to the next hole. So there's one shot saved right there.
Do you think it's effective because you're staying so specific on just like this one shot versus being broad in a sense, instead of like 1 week is on chipping versus like chipping out of the heavy rough, like you said? Like, do you think that's a reason that it's effective?
Yes, I think so, because what's happening, it's hitting upon the weaknesses of these golfers, and they know it. They know it coming in, what we're going to work on, and the whole point of it is by, as you asked me, what are those 5 shots? They know what we're going to cover, and as soon as they see anything from a pamphlet or the website, they're going, yeah, I need a lot of work on that, and they look at the others and they realize I need a lot of work on all of them. And so they're definitely signing up because they're seeing it as like, hey, if I can save 5 shots, maybe that's a difference of breaking 100, breaking 90, maybe breaking 80 even.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that leads into how do you get people into this? You said pamphlets. What are you doing to get people into this program?
Well, we have on course in the pro shop, as well as some of the other areas of the facility. We have pamphlets made up that basically outline all of the programs that we offer, as well as private instruction. And those are, as I said, those are everywhere. Also, we put up signage, whether it's in the bulletin boards on the hallways, in the locker rooms, in the restrooms, basically advertising all of this. And up on the range, we have a huge signage area. We'll put it up there. And of course, the golf course has a website, which is www.harborlinks.com. So anybody wants to go on that, they can see what it looks like, and there'll be information on there.
What do you think? Quick phone call.
Okay, we're set.
Keeping it real. What do you think if you could only do one thing to get people into the program? What do you think that would be? Like, just to try to break it down to the number one cause of getting people into the program.
I think it's just getting them to be more comfortable with playing. One of the things that I noticed is that the fear factor. They're afraid of going out on the golf course and encountering these situations. And so when you start to show them that a lot of the situations that they find themselves in, just being better armed, better equipped to deal with the situation, they're coming away feeling much more confident in their skill level, and they want to play. They're just afraid to play. And so now when they're coming across these situations that scare them, they're not scared anymore, and they're enjoying their rounds better. I mean, I have one woman who signed up for it last year, and because of it, she went into her club championship, and I believe she came in 3rd, and she was a medalist. And she's first call I got from her today was, are you going to be doing that clinic again? Because that really helped me. And now she wants her husband to be in it as well.
Cool. So let's talk about the admin and the business side, the profit side now. How is it structured? So you said hour and a half. What's the price point for it?
It works out to be roughly, I'd say $40, $45 for an hour of instruction. So you're looking at about $65, $70 for an hour and a half. And if you're getting 3 people coming in, that's roughly $200 plus dollars for the hour of instruction. The golf course gets their fees. I'll work in the greens fees for the golf course. But everything else, even food and beverage, providing snacks, Gatorade, water, anything like that for the students. But if you're looking at it in terms of how much the instructor is making, it's a home run. And it works on both levels, because in this day and age, maybe people are afraid or they don't want to spend as much as they used to. They're watching their pennies. Well, what you're doing is you're providing them an economical alternative to private lessons, and they like it because instead of paying, let's say, $100, $125 for an hour lesson, they see it as $40 to $60 for an hour and a half. And meanwhile, like I said, if you're getting $60 per person and you're getting 4, 5, 6 people in, that's a lot of pocket change in your pocket.
Yeah, for sure. And are you making people sign up for all 5, or do you let them choose which ones they want to come out to?
Oh, they're signing up for all 5.
They're fine. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And just to try to get into this a bit further, if you would look back, who do you think are the best people for this? Are there somebody that you don't have experience with teaching, like in a one-on-one situation? Is it just somebody? Is this kind of the first touch before they go into something more, or how does it fit into the bigger picture of the instruction?
I think it works from both ends. I've had people who have started with private lessons for me, and when I've offered the program, I've said this would be really good for you in addition to the private lessons. And so they'll continue the private lessons, but also join these kind of programs. Likewise, I'll get the other side of it where people are coming in first and joining our programs and getting a sense of how I teach. And what they're doing afterwards is after the 5 weeks are over, they'll say, like, I want to sign up for some private lessons because I really like how you ran this. And then they'll also ask me, do you have any other programs that you offer? So it's a good conduit to other programs as well as private instruction.
Okay, cool. And then as far as the admin side of things, somebody running this, what do they need to know? Like, what email reminders are you sending out? What things are you doing that makes it a better experience that people might not think of?
What I'm doing actually is I use V1 Branded Academy, and what I'll do is I'll create a video summary of what we worked on for that day's session. So as I mentioned earlier, the bunker shot. So I'll create a video and replay all of that stuff, summarize everything, and that way what they do is they get all of that either in their email or on their phones. So when they're out there practicing, they could just pop this up on their phone. And they can look at it and go like, oh, that's right, we were working on this, we were working on that. Because one of the things I always mention to students is you had a great lesson, you had a great practice session, and I know by the time you get into the car, you've forgotten 60% of what I said, if not more. So here, by the time you get to the car, take a look at your phone and everything will be right there. So that's one thing I do. I also create some handouts. Some people like to see it written out still. So I'll create a handout with some photographs of what we worked on. Just trying to give them as many opportunities to kind of sponge up what it was that we were working on.
Gotcha. So for each hour and a half that you spend, do you think that you spend another hour and a half or 2 hours in managing that session and trying to make sure that it comes off well, would you say?
I would say probably no more than another 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay.
Once you get the hang of it, how to create the videos, it's very quick. So,
cool.
Like I said, when you're making that, when you're talking about the money aspect of it, you're getting paid for that as well.
Yeah, because your hourly rate is definitely going up when you're doing this, but there is a little bit in the admin, so yeah, it works out perfectly. Okay, so I guess to wrap it up, we know what kind of place you're at. If somebody is in a kind of similar situation, to get started, just let's run through it one more time for them. Would you mind laying out like how they should position it, how they should pitch it, and then how they should structure the pricing and some of the time of that if they want to get started with their own, what you think would be a good starting place?
I think what you want to know is when do certain customers come in? Like, for instance, do you have a lot of stay-at-home moms coming in early in the morning that play? You're getting people with their own businesses, so their schedules are more flexible. Where I am, there's a Long Island Railroad station just up the road, so maybe there'll be people coming in at about 6 o'clock in the evening, and they're going to hop in their car or maybe grab a cab, come into our golf course, and so maybe that's a good time to run one of these. But you want to know what your demographics are, when they're going to be free, and then create programs based on that time.
Yeah, quick interjection here. So do you structure the 555? Do you have like one for women, one for men at different times then?
Yes, I'll do that as well.
Okay.
And
James, you still
Oh,
there?
there you go. Gotcha.
All right, you back?
Yep.
All right. You're saying I lost you at you're talking about if you do it separately for like women or different segments or
Right.
something like that.
Yes, I do. I do it separately for men and women, as well as having them the programs co-ed. As I mentioned earlier, I find a lot of women who are stay-at-home moms or just their husbands work, so they're off at the club playing, or they're playing over here. So something about, I'd say, 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, they're going to come. I'll schedule something that's, let's say, 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., and then what they'll do is they'll go into the grill room afterwards for lunch, and then they'll come back and maybe they're going to go out in the afternoon and play 9 holes, or if they're a member at a private club nearby, they'll go there, play 9 holes. I also get a lot of people, as I mentioned, coming off the train after work, so I'll have another one in the evening. So that'll be both men or women. And like I said, you're just looking for when these people are going to be free. And sometimes you're just throwing something up against the wall to see if it's a good time. You may get no one signing up, or you might have people coming up to you and saying, like, that's a great idea, too bad I can't do it, that time doesn't work for me. Ask them, what's a good time? And as you ask more people, you may start to notice, yeah, you know what, that 1 o'clock on Tuesday afternoons is not good, but that 3 o'clock on Friday seems to be pretty popular. So schedule one at that time.
Gotcha. And how many of these have you been able to do at a time? Do you do like 2 of these at a time, or 3 of these in a week, or how many are you able to do?
I'll run 2 at a time. And one of the things that I noticed is that obviously when your season starts, this is really going to be popular, because people are going to be starting off the season. They're going to want to work on their game. So this is something that will be good for them. As the season progresses, as I get to the latter part of the season, I'm not getting a lot of those same people. What I am getting is maybe the snowbird who's preparing to move down south for the winter. So they'll come and they'll take the program, let's say August or September. They'll take that 5-week program. So by the time October or November rolls around, they're getting ready to go down south for the winter, and then they're going to play down there.
Okay.
So that's part of the demographic.
Shut it down during the summer then?
What's that?
Do you shut it down during the summer then?
During the summer, I shut it down.
Okay.
There's not a lot of people because I want them playing. I want them out on the golf course, whether it's here or their home club, and I want them playing and enjoying the game. And then that way, maybe in the fall, they'll come for a tune-up in those private lessons that I mentioned. Or they'll just let me know. Hey, they'll get in touch with me as well, or I'll email them and say, hey, how's it going? They'll keep me posted as far as their success stories, and they'll tell me, or I'll tell them, hey, when I have another one next year, don't forget, I'll let you know. And so far it's been, yeah, I can't wait for you to do it again. I want to sign up again. As I mentioned, that one woman, she wants her husband to sign up now as well.
Cool. Was there something in the first one that you ran of this? Was there something that you missed or something that you wish you would have known in that first one or the first couple ones that you did?
Yes, I think one of the things that I did was I kept it on the driving range a lot. And I basically was very straightforward. Even when we were on the grass, it was a lot of flat lies, very basic stuff. And what I started to notice was that I got a lot of questions about, hey, what about this situation? What about that situation? All that kind of stuff. And so I started to create variations in it. And then I realized, you know what? I want to see them on the golf course with this. And so maybe as I mentioned, taking them out for a hole or creating a hole-like scenario on the practice facility.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I like that. Anything else? Did you have another one?
You mean programs?
No. Anything else that you would have wished that you would have known when starting? Was there something else?
I think also this is probably a little bit more for your experienced player. So you're going to want to let your students know that if they're a beginner, or maybe they haven't even been on the golf course yet, even though they've taken some lessons, some clinics, this might not be for them. Don't be afraid of saying that, because what will happen is if they join this clinic and you have 3, 4, 5 other people that are experienced golfers, you're going to be spending a lot of time on introductory instruction, how to hold the club, how to set up. And so what's happening, your focus is going to be on that one player, and you're going to be neglecting the needs of your other students. So create the programs based on the experience level of your player.
I like it. I like it. The 555 program. We'll put all the information up on the site for people to check out. But yeah, any final thoughts before leaving people with this?
No, I think that as I mentioned earlier, just throwing it up against the wall, seeing if things stick. This really just came as an accident a few years ago. I stumbled on it. And you never know what kind of creative things go around in your mind. You just listen to your students. They're probably giving you ideas and you don't realize it. So listen to what they're saying. If you're starting to notice common themes, maybe that's the beginnings of creating something like this 555 program.
Awesome. Better student development and more profit. So win-win. All right, thanks, man. Appreciate the insight into the program.
Thanks for having me, Corey.
Cool.